Hi all! It's Saturday night for us, and we wish you welcome and to the Sleepless Astrologer. I am Vickie. That is Miss Kristin. We have a treat for you tonight. Rockstar YouTube phenom Kahlen is having. Hey, baby. Say hey.
Hi.
Hi. We're having a special look at his chart for all of everyone to see. Hang out for that. We ask you to subscribe, smash that bell, give us a thumbs up if you're digging this, and comment any questions that you may have and all that good stuff. So Kristin, Kahlen, rock it out.
Hey, Colin.
Hi.
I was just going to go ahead and share your chart, and then we can start looking at everything. So we had talked that you wanted to do natal and then a projection for 2018 to see what's on the table for you, right? For everybody, you're a Gemini with it's funny, an Aries moon.
He was like the fifth Aries moon that I talked to out of that grouping. Gemini with Aries moon, about 5 of them.
Really?
Yeah.
That's interesting. Has a Capricorn rising. In astrology, we look at those as like the big 3 at first, right? So like how does his energy, so like with your sun in Gemini, that's your sort of your will and your path in life. Your moon is sort of like your emotional needs and how you express them. And your rising sign is how you view the world and how the world views you. And well, it doesn't necessarily always mean that that's how the world views you. Because I've watched some of your videos. You don't appear to be a Capricorn, right?
One of my best friends, actually, who's here in the other room, he's a Capricorn. I actually get along really well with Capricorns. Yeah, I would definitely say I can be misread sometimes by people, if that's like what you meant.
Yes.
For sure. I could definitely think that sometimes people can misread me.
I think that your energy, the Gemini energy, is very strong, and you have a very strong moon placement. So those two things are kind of overpowering the Capricorn. A lot of times Capricorn rising or rising signs in general can just tell us more about your childhood and what you've experienced as a young person. Also, it can tell us about your like physical body and how you appear. And you've got a lot of contradictions going on in your chart. I want to make a couple observations real quick. So you have what's called a grand trine, and that is between the planets of Mars, Uranus, and the Sun. So that gives it's a very easy flowing energy aspect, and it's very powerful. And those 3 planets are quite powerful when put together, right? It gives you a lot of energy, like tons of energy. This is a crazy energy source for you. But besides the grand trine, you have 2 T-squares. Do you know what a T-square is?
No, what is that?
Okay, so I actually just looked up the meaning so I could explain it really well to people who don't know what that is. So T-square is in your chart where you have 3 planets that are making an isosceles triangle. So you have T-squares in between Moon, Mars, Neptune, Moon, right? And then you have one between Neptune, Venus, and Jupiter. So T-squares are like extremely focused energy. And they are as if you were driving with 3 wheels on a car is one of the classic ways of understanding a T-square. So if you only have 3 wheels in a car, you have to be super careful of how you balance your energy and how you balance yourself in a car, or else it won't go, right?
Right.
So wherever the T-square is pointing, which would be, for example, in his Mars, Moon, Neptune is where your T-square is pointing on that one. And then between the Neptune, Venus, and Moon, it's all pointing in the Moon. So the focus on these T-squares would be Neptune in the 1st house, and then Moon and Jupiter in the 3rd house. Neptune in the 1st house would actually explain why you don't appear like a Capricorn, because you could be anything to anybody. Neptune in the 1st house is very, it's not close to your rising sign, but it's very... it's very powerful with that T-square in your first chart, in your 1st house. And even though Neptune's in Aquarius, so that actually makes it a little bit different. So Neptune in the 1st house means you can play any role you want. It's like a great position for an actor or somebody on stage. It also means that you can understand vibes of other people and sort of work your energy around them. So it's almost like
I can adapt well with different.
That's a really great way of saying it. You can adapt based on your environment. And so I would say your true nature as a Capricorn rising is somebody who's gone through a lot of struggles, who had a very serious childhood and a very lonely childhood in general. Capricorn rising people have had to overcome things. It makes them very strong. It makes them incredibly strong because they have this past that they've had to rise above. And I would say that just that alone gives you a lot of strength. But given the fact that you have 2 T-squares in your chart, makes you stronger than most people. In fact, I only see T-squares in charts of extremely, I mean, not only, but a lot of times extremely successful people. It is such a driver and a motivator for people that you see this in like major celebrities and CEOs and very powerful people, because they're able to navigate that balance of energy that they need to like continue to drive forward. And there's no doubt that you will drive forward. Like when I look at your chart, I see this as you're very driven. You have challenges, you know, that you're going to overcome, you're going to have to overcome, and you're still young. So this is like a really, I think, an awesome thing for you to learn at 18. You know, I think because this is a very powerful chart. You've got Vickie, doesn't he have a powerful chart? I mean, this is a very powerful chart.
He does. And I actually just want to jump back really quick to the Capricorn rising.
Sure.
On the phone, one-on-one, Kahlen is very subdued. You'll notice on his videos that he's very, very kinetic. I mean, the one that sticks out to me the most was the 2017 roast. I don't know how many of your viewers have seen that. It's one of my personal favorites of your videos. I mean, that was hysterical. And you were all over the place and you're drawing on your eyebrows and stuff. And, you know, when I have you on the phone talking about things, I mean, you're multitasking like a Gemini, but you're all business. And you have even like a different tone of voice. I don't know if you realize that, but you do.
Thanks. Can I talk a little bit about the childhood thing? Because
sure.
Like, you know, I can talk about whatever I want, right? I actually personally am very open about this, but I actually grew up in the foster care system. So my whole life, I feel like that adaptation thing probably comes from having to adapt from home to home and having to be quick and having to understand that somebody might tell me like, this is the way that you have to take the garbage out here. And then I might go somewhere else and they might have a totally different way of doing that. Or like a different, you know, way of life or different views or, you know, because when you're constantly moving from home to home and you're being taught all this stuff, I feel like I wasn't just raised by one person. I was raised by so many people. So now it's easy for me to adapt to like, you know, as far as professionalism goes, like if I'm working in a working environment, I can adapt easily to those things because of what I went through in my life. And it's easy for me to like, with people, I can get along with most people, I feel, too. Just because I can kind of see similarities in like different foster parents, or even if not that, just like in general, like I can just see people for them. And I also think I'm an empath, so I absorb energy so much. Like if somebody's very, very negative or very, very like overbearing, like in a bad way, like if they're like rude to me or something like that, like it could ruin my entire day. And I've been able to like work with that and like navigate that and become better at it. So it's not like, wow, Colin, you're taking all this in, like you're gonna explode. Like I've been able to channel into positive things, like making videos, like I'll rant like about stupid stuff, or like I'll write something down, and I've been able to, you know, make good out of those situations. But I definitely think that's probably where that's coming from on that chart.
Have you ever heard of, there's a phenomenon that happens when you're in an abusive, or it could be any, like a very uncertain setting as a child. You develop a very fine-tuned sense of intuition, right? So if you are naturally intuitive and then you're put into a situation where you have to have and build survival instincts based on your surroundings, you become so in tune with other people and their energy, you can anticipate. It's a total survival instinct. So you'll be able to like say, oh, this person was drinking. So you know that, like, you can tell just by subtle, most people can't even like read these things, but like very subtle shifts in temperament or situations. And you as a child, especially, and I'm so sorry about your childhood, that must have been really hard.
Thank you. It made me stronger. I'm exactly because of it.
There's never been an super interesting person who hasn't had a difficult past. You know, those challenges, if you don't let them break you, they make you. And it's totally true. And I think that, you know, if you can work with that energy and you can understand what happened in the past and possibly why you were set on that path, I think that will help you and build up like this resiliency in you for the rest of your life, because you're going to need it. 18 is so young and like life is hard, you know? So, but let me tell you that anybody who has Capricorn rising, typically they are able to rise above, because as a goat, like we talk about goats always climb the mountain.
I was just going to say they climb the little mountain, get
have
to
you ever
the top of their goals.
Yes, they do. Have you ever seen those? Like, there's like crazy pictures where goats are climbing trees and there's like 100 goats on a tree. Have you ever seen that?
I have to look that up.
Oh, I'll have to show you. So yeah, it's so crazy. You have like 100 goats on every single limb of a tree, and they're always on, you know, they're always climbing up. And it's like this crazy, like they, you know, it could be the weirdest situation. It could be like the side of a mountain and they're like hanging off the cliff, but they're climbing.
They're up there.
They don't fall down. Like they really, and having Capricorn rising gives you a lot of strength. I'm going to go back to your chart real quick.
Can I pop in something as well?
Sure, of course.
Kahlen, I think you neglect to acknowledge your Aries moon, which also gives you strength as well. And it's, Kristin, would you say it's conjunct Jupiter? I can't see from here, but it's like 26, 27.
It's 27 Aries and 26 Aries. It is, he's got, that's an amazing moon placement, right? Jupiter conjunct the moon gives you strength. It gives you energy.
Gives you luck.
It gives you luck. Yeah, that's true. You wouldn't always consider luck to be what you think it should be. Luck can be in many ways. You could be lucky to have had, because it's in your fourth house, like Jupiter and moon conjunct in the it's in the third house. Oh, and you know what? I was reading that wrong. So Saturn is in the fourth house. That actually coincides with the childhood issue, right, Vickie? So
yes, Saturn's the ruler of Capricorn.
Yes. So the ruler of your first house is sitting right on the
fourth house is your home and family.
That's your family. So that explains,
the burden.
It's how it manifests. That Capricorn rising manifested into your early home life.
So what does that mean necessarily?
Well, kind of what we discussed, you know.
It's like resiliency, and it's going to be wherever you fear in life. Like Saturn in your chart is what you fear, right? Okay. I mean, there's lots of things about Saturn, but Saturn is where you fear. It's what you have. So there's like negative and positive ways to look at Saturn. Saturn can be glue. It could be strength. It could be resiliency.
Disciplinarian.
It could be where you're constantly hurting. It does give you discipline. It's challenge. Your aspects are challenged with Saturn.
Determination.
It's E² with Neptune and Venus, which could give you some identity issues. Saturn is, let's see what else it's doing here. It is just, he's got 3 squares. So Saturn, it's squared his north node too. And then the south node. So if you believe in past lives, then this is
I do. I really believe in past lives, actually. I never talked about that before because I think people are like, that's insane. But I feel like, I don't know. Like, I believe like everything that you go through, there's like a reason why, and you're supposed to get something out and you're supposed to learn something. So I feel like personally, like, I mean, I don't know if this is what that is, but like maybe having that Capricorn in my Saturn maybe has to do with, because like you said, it goes back to family. Like sometimes I'm always like, okay, I went through what I went through. I know I have to overcome it, but in exactly what way am I going to do it? Like, I feel like I don't know exactly where I'm going to end up, like what career. I know that I'm going to do something, but I don't know exactly, is it going to be YouTube? Is it going to be music? Is it going to be films? Is it going to be writing?
It might be all that.
Yeah,
I'm just telling you right now.
Do anything.
You might have many, many careers. But going back to the past life, just in general. So we look at what's called the moon's nodes. If you can see my screen, I'm going to point to this little hat, like almost like a horseshoe. That's the north node, and then exactly opposite, and I don't have it drawn on this chart, but it's at 14 degrees, so it's really close to Uranus in the first. That the opposite would be the south node. The south node is the things that we carry with us from the past life. The north node points us to the direction where we should be heading in this life. Okay. If you don't believe in past lives, for people who are listening, It also could just be that this is like the path that you need to work on in your lifetime to be happy and to be successful. Your job, based on this, is to not only overcome childhood issues, it's to focus on your building yourself. North Node, you need to learn independence. That's a really shitty way to learn independence, to be put into a foster situation. But that
in
did
Leo
it.
as well.
It did it. I mean, if there's nothing else that it did for you, it showed you how to survive in difficult circumstances. And that is your goal in this lifetime, is to overcome that and work on partnerships and work on trusting and believing in people. And that's a really hard lesson to have learned as a child. But
that's you say that, because that's exactly how I feel too. I feel the same way. I feel like once you go through something like that, you're like, okay, I've been through all this kind of stuff. It's hard to trust people because every time I let somebody in, I feel like, and it happens so much. Like every time I let somebody in, they continuously hurt me or continuously betray my trust or continuously pin it on me, or because something that I think that I'm learning now that I'm so glad that I've found is self-awareness. Like I know how to figure out when, hey, I'm wrong, so I need to apologize. I need to learn from it, grow, and become a better person. But I think with that, I'm becoming a little too self-aware where I feel like I'm taking responsibility for other people's stuff when they're in the wrong. Like it's almost becoming to the point where before I wouldn't even be aware of my problems, and I feel like I was like wrong in that way. Like I'd be like, no, I don't have a problem. Like, or I would get mad because, you know, I also dealt with a lot of therapy too when I was in the foster care system, and I didn't like for people to tell me there was something wrong with me or that I wasn't okay or that whatever I went through in my life, trauma or whatever, made me different than somebody else because, you know, nobody wants to feel like, I don't like to feel like a victim. Like I like to rise above and conquer. And that's something I've always felt. Like I don't like to be the victim. I like to rise above it. So I was never able to just accept, you know what, you are going through something right now and it's okay to be going through something. I always feel like it's not okay for me to be upset. Like I need to always try to be as positive as I can, even though that's like not possible, like to 24/7 be positive, sorry. But like I try to. So I don't know. I feel like that could have something to do with that.
You know, it's very wise of you at 18 years old to be able to say those things. And that's somebody who's gone through stuff, like whether it's this life or last life or whatever. You've got Jupiter conjunct your moon. Luckily, that will give you an optimistic viewpoint, right? Like it really will. It will make you, almost force you almost to act like a Sagittarius moon person. And Aries moon is somebody who has like immediate needs and they're very open about their feelings. Like you said, you're an open book. But let me just tell you, you've got moon in the 4th house. I'm going to go back to sharing again. So moon in the 4th house, people, they have, oh no, 3rd. I keep thinking 3rd. Forget it. Why, Vickie, why do I keep thinking he has moon in the 4th?
You know why? Because Mercury was in Cancer, and I think that's stuck in your head.
No, I don't. I really am reading moon in the 4th house. I wonder if I redid this chart as a equal house system, it would be in the 4th. I don't know. I'm going to do that real quick. I'm just going to edit this. Hope you don't mind.
Okay, no, I don't.
Because there's a reason why I keep reading that in the 4th house. So if I do, now this is there's just lots of different ways you can look at a chart. I usually use what's called a Placidus chart because that to me is more of like I always think that's like
traditional
a personality chart. Like if I'm looking at an equal house system, a lot of predictive astrologers will use, I was right. See? Can you see this? Mm-hmm. I have Moon, Jupiter, and Saturn in your 4th house in the equal house system.
What house did you have to use to do that?
This was just the equal. I had chose the wrong one. I chose equal with midheaven, and this is just the straight equal house. So I'm going to
intuition proves you right again.
Yeah, well, I mean, it kept on telling. I just kept feeling like moon is in the 4th. Moon is in the 4th. So moon in the 4th, and see Saturn is also in the 4th. So I think
like a different chart then, or like what is that? Like it's still the same thing.
It's a different version of the same chart.
Yeah,
okay.
The houses are drawn with 30-degree angles.
Okay.
So instead of a Placidus gives you like a lot of different It won't be 30 degrees. It might be 80 degrees in one house. I think that that's better for reading like personality charts and relationship charts. Sometimes for projection and predictive astrology, equal house is better. Some people use what's called a conj. I can't even say it. Or whatever. And they use that. So it depends on the astrologer's personal style. But I'm going to, Vickie, if it's okay with you, I'm going to use the equal house system just because I feel like I kept going back to this.
Because something I just noticed from using that is that Kahlen makes his money on the internet, and that the second house is ruled by Aquarius and has Uranus in it, which rules computers and electronics.
Well, and his grand trine is pointing to Uranus in the second, with Mars in the 10th for energy and the sun in the 6th.
And the 6th for everyday work, and Mercury is in there as well.
Now, on the Placidus system, he had all that stuff in the 3rd house of communication. That actually makes sense a lot too, because communication is going to consistently be a huge issue for you in life. And
but
Gemini,
communication is something that he deals with every day.
Yeah, right. That makes sense. So this Mars opposing your moon, I want to talk about this 4th house stuff. The moon in the 4th house is, you've got stuff hidden. I know you say you're the open book, and with moon in Aries, conjunct Jupiter, I believe that you are. But you have deep stuff that, those are the trust issues we're talking about, is that you feel like you need to keep your guard up. You have Kevlar vest on, and you put a face to the world, a strong face and a jovial face, and Jupiter and moon conjunction does that. The sun in the Gemini does that. Venus in Leo does that. There's a huge part of you that's like very open and very outgoing and very fun-loving and optimistic. But there's that part of you that's going to make sure that you're safe. You know, you're going to be safe. You're going to make sure and you have this, what's called a Mars moon opposition. So that's like your energy, where you focus your energy is sort of in combat with your moon. So you're probably constantly going to face this issue in life where you're going to have your emotions might feel in conflict with your drive. It can manifest in so many ways that it's like really hard to even say, but as like a young person, you know, and you haven't gone through a Saturn return, you haven't gone through a lot of life experiences that you'll be going through.
Remember, I warned you about your Saturn return, Colin.
In 12 years. 12
I know
years
what that means. I think I know where you're coming from. I feel like I personally am such a I do like let my emotions fuel my decisions a lot sometimes, but not like in an unreasonable way. Like not like I'm angry, so I'm gonna like do something crazy. Like not in that way, but more in like the way of if I'm not feeling self-fulfilled doing something, then I'm not gonna do that anymore. Or I'm not going to be a part of that anymore. And like, obviously as Geminis, we get bored easily. Like that's definitely something. But I think, yeah, that will have to do with, because you said with my drive, like it'll affect my drive. If I'm not having a good day, I can't film a video. Like I can't film a video if I'm sad or upset. I have to be positive. I have to have good energy, or I can't do it. I guess like I can't be fake. Like I don't know how to smile.
Well, is that because of his Venus opposed Neptune, Kristin?
I would say yes, that could affect it for sure. But I think that moon in the 4th, I mean, that's a very Cancerian sort of moon. And, you know, he's got the fire sign moon, but it's like in, you know, the Cancer's home, and Cancers very much are, you know.
I've seen that fire sign moon go off.
Yeah.
And when Colin has something to say, he has something to say and he says it. And I know you say you're censor yourself. You don't. To
some level, I feel like when it comes to like really deep, like rooted stuff, like for instance, if I'm going to film a video and I'm like having a bad day, I won't want to like tell my subscribers, hey, I went through this today and I'm feeling bad, because then I will feel like I'm going to like spread that back to them. But when it comes to like a close friend, I will tell my close friend. So I guess it depends on who I'm telling that information to. You know what I mean?
Well, like when you're telling a story, for example, about an experience you've had with somebody else,
right?
You're generally pretty blunt about. You're not holding back much.
No.
Maybe just like a smidge of what could be really damaging.
Right.
And the rest you put out there with like robust pride is the only way I can think of it. And it's not a bad thing. It's a good thing. I mean, you're speaking your truth, and that's why your audience loves you, because they know they're getting an authentic person.
Well, his Mercury is in Cancer too.
Yeah.
They are, you're protective of when you're talking. And Mercury in Cancers, a lot of times they will hold emotions close, but they're the cardinal water sign. So they're going to tell you what they feel, and they're going to hope to help you in some way by what they feel. But that your moon and Jupiter in Aries is going to sometimes overpower that Mercury, because that's like a very strong moon sign, and the moon placement, I would say. I keep on not sharing the screen because we're talking, but I wanted to go back to this. So, but I think that, and your Mercury, I mean, his Mercury, he has one in conjunct with Venus.
Mm-hmm.
It's otherwise fairly, well, I guess there's quinquunx, I hate saying that one, with Neptune. It's not like a very strong aspect. So I'm focusing a lot on your natal chart. And I know you wanted a projection, but I feel like you had to kind of have that sense of,
you got to know where you started
natal
to know where you're going. Right.
For sure.
Yeah.
All right. So
I think the node in the 8th house in Leo is significant as well in regards to other people's resources. Colin, I think there's a lot of people that want to help you, that want to see you succeed. And as you go on your path, that you will run into more and more people that will go out of their way to make sure that you succeed. And that's part of that Jupiter luck. And that's part of your path, is to be blessed that way. So I think that that's a good thing.
Oh, that's dope. Oh, if you want to help me, what? But that's cool. That's like this is like a projection, right? Like, so this is like in the future, kind of.
No, that's just basically
I think it's now.
I think forever, like you're gonna have. See now, and the Placidus system, his north node was in the 7th, and his south node was in the 1st, and that was that whole like overcoming the issues and really learning how to trust. And yeah. I think that's going to be a consistent life path for him.
Especially with Chiron in the 11th in Scorpio at 29 degrees. I know how you love 29 degrees.
Yeah. Oh my God. That's right. 29 degrees Chiron in Scorpio in the 11th. So you're going to get burned by people. You're going to constantly be learning stuff throughout your life, through relationships that have failed. That's like an open wound. Is almost like, it's a lot of this trust issue stuff going on. You're just going to have to learn the right people to trust who aren't going to let you down.
I trust too many people. That's the matter. I didn't trust anybody. And then I was like, not like, I was too guarded and too like defensive. And then I trust too many people, and then people hurt me too much. It's like, I need to find the balance, like for sure.
You totally will. Especially like you've got Scorpio on the 11th. So you're going to just learn to choose your friends really carefully.
Trust that intuition that you have.
Yeah. And you're going to learn, I mean, the ruler of his 11th is in his 11th.
Yep.
I mean, that's powerful. You're going to attract very powerful people who, you're going to have to really decide who to trust. So be careful, be wary of trusting too quickly. I don't think that Scorpio on the 11th should. I think you've got this issue from childhood with trust. So, I mean, like really, you're going to have to like learn how to navigate. And you've had to learn how to navigate since a child. You take a little bit more time when you meet somebody, you feel out the situation, you be kind of reserved at first. And then, I mean, I would say that that's kind of like your natural instinct is to observe, to sit back, especially when you're young, to like be the person who kind of feels out the scene before you let yourself be shown, let your true nature show. So trusting too many people, I think when you become stronger, you feel like it's easier to trust people because you're strong. Like, they can't really hurt you. So let me just put it all out there. There is that party that needs to learn that some people can hurt you, and that they will, take advantage of your
Diamond.
Yeah.
I have a lot of people do that to me all the time. And then being a Gemini, something that I've needed to work on, I feel like I've worked on, is I'm super nice to people when they're nice to me. But then when people are assholes to me, then I'm like, oh, I'm going to be a bitch to you. Like, I'm not like that now. Like, I used to be like that a lot. Now I try to kill people with kindness and try to deal with it good. But it still bothers me because I think there's nothing more in this world that upsets me more than when you treat nice people like shit. Like, if you treat people
unfairness,
who like shit, then it just makes me want to be an asshole to you, so you know what it feels like. But then it's like, Colin, stop. You need to be better. You're better than that. But, that's how I feel sometimes. I feel like people who are assholes to other people, those are the people that really get under my skin, for sure.
I've met so many Moon and Aries people who are into justice. They don't relax or feel like they're okay until they've made that other person feel the same way that they're feeling. It's like, it's a weird sort of like revenge. Like, I'm going to make you feel this way again. It's a very but you've got Jupiter there. So there's that like optimism. You have the capability of not being very like reactive instinctually like that. You can kind of help, but it's idealistic. Like, it's almost like I said earlier, a Sagittarius moon. You've got those two energies. You've got Sagittarius or Jupiter and the moon in Aries. So between that, it's like very idealistic. If you have an expectation of the way things should go and then they don't happen that way, it can be like extremely upsetting to you. Like, that's just wrong. That's not right. This isn't how it's supposed to be. This is injustice. And I'm going to fight, because that moon in Aries is a fighter. You're a warrior, and you will fight when you need to, especially to protect yourself, your family, your home, things like that, or anybody you really care about deeply. You're going to fight. Geminis are very, I feel like I bring this up all the time, but you look at our President Trump. He's a Gemini with Mars rising.
Well, please, we don't claim him, okay?
No, I know. Listen, I'm fine with that. But like, in general, if you look at how this person is, like, he's a really good example of a Gemini with Mars rising. And so Moon in Aries is similar. And they're going to fight. They're fighters, and they're smart. You're just really smart. So Geminis are I think, the smartest sign in the zodiac. I think you are the smarter, and you're the quickest witted, smartest. Aquarians come in
they're a close second.
They're a close second. You would have to argue on the rest of the chart, but Geminis are just so like mercurial. They're so intellectual. You have issues with intellectualizing your feelings a little bit. Luckily, in a way, that Aries moon is more impulsive and feeling. So between those two, you're constantly going to have to like think and rethink, deal with your moon, which is like more reactive, and you're going to analyze your actions and then change your behavior based on your analysis. And Geminis are very much like that. They're very like, they're going to analyze it and then make emotional decisions based on your moon. I really think, like, especially with this sun and your Mars and this grand trine and the activating T-squares that kind of are associated with it, I think you have a drive. You're going to end up being successful. You're 18. Are you in college, or are you looking to go to college, or what are you doing?
I'm actually doing YouTube, and I'm going to be getting into music really, really, really soon. Really exciting things with music. I don't want to talk too much about some of that, but really exciting things with music is coming up for me. And I love YouTube, and I'm going to still be on it for like a while. I don't want to leave it, but it's definitely not my end goal. Like, it's definitely not. Like, I love to write. I love music. I would love to direct one day, act. And when I go to school, college is like a plan B for me. It's not like the goal. It's like, okay, it seems like fun, and I'm probably going to enroll eventually. I was thinking about enrolling in the fall, but then I'm kind of questioning if I want to do that. I have to decide if I want.
Well, this is a really good, let me go ahead and pull up your transits and see what's in store for 2018, right?
Yes, I'm excited.
Okay.
It's probably going to be the hardest year. I have a feeling it's going to be like the year that I'm going to have to make all these steps to prove like what, like I talked with Vickie a little bit about, like, everything I've been through. I'm going to have to like use all that crap to go through like one of the hardest years just so I can get the best years after. Like, that's what I feel like is going to happen for some.
Well, the first thing I noticed is that Uranus is exactly on that Jupiter moon conjunction.
Yeah, it's the first thing that popped up for me too. So 24 Aries. So it's about to hit Jupiter, it's about to hit Moon, and it's exactly opposite of Mars at 24 degrees right now.
Okay.
So
Probably why you're so like passionate about things.
it's unsettling though in a way, because like that's just like there's energy that's changing you, how you live right now. Like this is, and with an opposing Mars, like you just never know what's going to pop up in your life. You might be moving to California. You might be moving quickly and suddenly somewhere.
You were talking about moving.
This is probably, I would say that you're probably not going to stay in your house, like wherever you're at. But I don't see it as like a bad thing. I think that Uranus is like an unpredictable thing that's happening in your life.
Right.
If it's happening between the 3rd and the 9th. See, now I went back to Placidus. That's so funny. I'm like, yeah, it's on the 4th, but here, I'm gonna stay on Placidus, okay, just keep going. So yeah.
Nodes are conjunct as well.
Yeah, that's interesting, right? So he's going through a North Node return. There's a sense of destiny in your life right now.
Yeah.
Like there's a sense like, oh my gosh, this is the path I should be heading. But there's just this unpredictability about what it is. There's a lot of focus on your career right now and about making money from your career.
Saturn just entered at the 12th.
So it didn't just enter, but it's like right.
I'm looking at the wrong line.
Yeah, I know. It's hard to see it. 2 degrees Capricorn right now. It's opposing his Mercury.
Okay.
And that will.
Are you bumming a little bit?
No, I'm not bumming because this actually is really weird because this is actually what I've been feeling like. To be honest, I'll be blunt. I feel like I do YouTube and I love it and I love posting on it. But sometimes like with the way the community is and the way that everything is, I'm like, this is not what I'm supposed to do. Like this is not where I'm supposed to be. And I know I have a way bigger purpose than it.
Well,
feel like sometimes
your higher purpose, right? Your career, your 10th house is ruled by Scorpio. The ruler of that is in the 11th house. You are supposed to be dealing with the public.
Right.
You're supposed to be dealing with, in the 11th house, I think it is public. I think you might it could be acting, it could be film with that Pluto in the 11th. What do you think, Vickie?
Well, I know that Kahlen had expressed that he might have had an opportunity on a television show.
Yeah.
Did that pan out, or?
I have to audition for that. I think I'm going to finish the audition tomorrow. Well, I'm actually made it to the second stage of a TV show called The Four. It's a singing show. And basically the winner of that show gets a record deal with one of the biggest record labels, and you get they help walk the artist through to make them a star, I guess is the point. And there's only 8 episodes of it. It's not like any other singing show because it really is for the sake of making somebody successful after. But I made it to the second stage as they liked my first audition.
Congratulations.
That's awesome. Well, let's just take a look at this Sun, Mars, and Uranus in these very important, the Sun in the 5th house in Placidus, we're back to that, is all about arts and all about creativity. And with it being opposing Pluto, it brings a ton of energy. And I think that's, I've seen a lot of like famous artists with this 5th and 11th house oppositions.
Really?
Yes. Absolutely.
Oh.
In fact, if you look up any famous musicians, almost always they have the 5th, something with their 5th and 11th. I think definitely. I was going to say I could name off a couple, but I don't want to like be wrong because I would have to look. But
do you want me to go back and look at some?
Oh my gosh, if you actually told me which ones, then maybe I could because I actually study a lot of artists' careers and like what they do in their journey to get there. That actually be really cool.
Check them out. But yeah, that's definitely that 5th, 11th energy that you have is very much artistic and creative. And
I go back again to Neptune opposing Venus, which could be creativity in the arts, especially since Venus is in Leo and the node is there. So he's walking down the path he's supposed to walk down. Right now, YouTube's just bread and butter.
Oh, this
Well,
is
Neptune in the first is very, very typical for somebody who's, you know, I think the acting part or the being on stage or being able to, you know, remake yourself for other people is very, very typical with that Neptune.
Or do you see more acting? Do you see more actors?
Neptune rules music, like in general, like that's,
Yeah.
Neptune is very music oriented.
I thought Venus was.
Both, right? Like Neptune and Venus. So yeah,
he's got double trouble.
Double trouble. An opposition doesn't always bring challenges, it brings opportunities, right? And Venus opposing Neptune gives you talent, for sure.
Thank you.
I think it looks good. I think, you know, looking at your T-squares, so if we look at what activates these T-squares in your transits, it can really tell you how you focus your energy.
Okay.
And I think right now, Venus, well, this Neptune, so Vickie.
Yeah.
This first T-square here with Neptune, Mars, and the Jupiter and Moon conjunct.
Yeah.
Neptune is the focus of this T-square in the first.
Yeah.
Like, that's significant, right?
To be seen.
It's like, this is how you balance your energy, is by putting on a show.
Yeah. For the masses.
For the masses, right? Because it's in the...
Even though it's retrograde?
Yeah, retrograde just means you handle it a little differently. You know, it doesn't mean that it's like backwards or anything. It just means that you have like some sort of it's something unique about you. And both Uranus and Neptune are in retrograde in the first.
Yeah.
It's interesting.
Colin, you have je ne sais quoi. Do you know what that means?
What does that mean?
I don't know what. It's French for I don't know what.
Okay.
You have that thing. You have the thing.
The thing, the X factor. I think that, you know, when you're asking, like, am I going to be an actor? Am I going to be a singer? Am I going to be a writer? Am I going to be a content creator? You're going to do it whatever you feel like doing. I think that you probably stand a pretty good chance of being successful at whatever you pursue.
Yeah, I have no doubt. No doubt.
You just have to decide in what order you want to pursue it. Do you want to sing or do you want to write this book now?
I want to sing, but I'm also writing this book. Like, I'm so on this book right now. I already have so much written for it. I'm so excited about it.
So you're going to multitask.
Yes. For music and book are the main things. And then, of course, YouTube. And I'm, like, literally doing nothing else besides those things right now.
That's a lot to do. But it takes, like, someone with a lot of dynamic energy that you have with this Mars and Jupiter Moon aspect to get this stuff done.
Right.
You know, and you have to be careful that you don't burn yourself out.
Okay.
Which I think that Uranus could possibly, like, fizzle the electricity in it and
wait,
in
the natal chart?
Yeah, the transiting Uranus.
Oh, transiting. I was gonna say, because no, he's got his Uranus is in the Grand Trine. That's
the transiting Uranus. I'm sorry, I should have been more like specific.
I think it's like combustion, you know, like you just don't know what the energy is going to do because it's like so.
And then you do nothing.
Crazy. I don't think doing
I should do one thing and stick with it, or do you think I should just like be better at how I balance my stuff? Is that what you would say?
Do your thing.
I think I don't think that one thing would actually help you.
No, do your thing.
I think you need to do, well, you have the capability of doing more than one thing.
And I want to do it all too. I really do. Not gonna lie.
No, you can do that. Look at, I'm going to show you this other T-square with Venus, Neptune, which is arts and creativity. And the focal point is the Moon and Jupiter conjunct in the third. I think
communication.
Writing is awesome. Like if you write something, that would be incredible. Do you write music?
Yeah, I write music and I write like creative write, and then also I'm starting to explore writing fiction, and then I'm writing a novel.
That's awesome. Yeah, I think you've got that. That would help you balance the energy between for your creativity with Venus and Neptune in opposition here with that T-square. I don't want to overemphasize, or I should say, no, I don't want to underemphasize the T-squares. Get 2 T-squares and a Grand Trine. This is an incredible chart. Somebody who's going to be cheating a lot of things. Here's what you need to worry about.
Okay.
You need to worry about trusting the right people. You need to worry about forming the right partnerships, because the partnerships are going to be key in your life to move you forward.
Right.
But you have to be careful to choose the right partnerships, people who won't harm you. You have to be careful with drugs and alcohol.
Yeah.
You
It runs
cannot,
with addiction, girl. I'm not touching that. Nope. We
you
good.
cannot do that.
No.
Do not mess with dark arts. Do not mess with voodoo or anything like witchcrafty,
Okay.
because that can bring you down. Don't mess with drugs or alcohol. That will hurt you. And that's very common in like creative circles.
I have no interest actually. Like I literally am so like you wouldn't even understand like how much I would never do drugs, never do alcohol, like ever. Like everyone, there have been people who have offered me like things that aren't that harmful, like just like weed or
Ritalin,
drink, and I'll be like no, because I literally just I don't want to touch it. I don't like the feeling of not having control of myself or my life, or like feeling reliant on anything. Like that's just something I don't have. I think that might come from the independence too. Like I don't like to rely on nothing to have a good time. You know, I'll be the one at the party that's having a good time that ain't.
Good. You know what? You're young. Keep that in mind. That will bring you down. It will. Right. You're not going to be able to handle that energy if you're having substance issues.
Okay.
For sure.
where do you see the substance issues?
I mean, this Neptune T-square with Venus and the moon.
Okay.
I think he's got to be really careful in that first house. Your physical health is going to be super important. If Neptune with challenging aspects in the first house, if you have addiction issues, that could really bring your health down. So I would just say be very careful with that.
See, I would say be careful of exhaustion.
I think he's got an infinite source of energy with this Mars, Uranus, and Sun.
I don't know why. I just feel like pace yourself a little bit.
Right.
Especially with Saturn kind of going through your 12th right now, conjunct Mercury.
Right. So here, that's an interesting transit right now. Saturn in the 12th house, Mercury will be conjunct for a few days, but Saturn in the 12th house is a time for you to like really reflect on all the things that you've been going through, right? It's 12th house is unconscious stuff. Like it's the stuff that's it's hard to put a handle on. It's your
secret self.
Dreams. It's any of your secrets. You're really going. It's like the deepest part of you, who you are, and the stuff that can take you down. Right. Saturn is like discipline, but it's also like making you work kind of harder in your dreams and this isn't like the best time for you to be. It's like realism, like you're pushed into like reality right now in the Saturn in the 12th house. But it's just like a time for you to like sit back and reflect on all the things you've gone through and make plans. Because when Saturn hits your first house, right? It's coming, but you got about
like a year
and a half. Let me look up the dates just so we can know. So it's 2 degrees Capricorn right now, and his rising is 14.
How big is this actual chart? Like how long does it like expand to, that chart that you're reading now?
Well, this is currently what's happening. So every planet has a different orbit, like
time period.
So let's say, just so example, your sun changes every day, right? 1 degree, right? So the sun will orbit your entire house 1 time a year. The moon orbits 1 time every 28 days. Your Saturn takes 2.5 years through one chart, usually 30 degrees. So it's like an approximate thing. So like you can see like Pluto, you have Pluto in your first house. Pluto is going to be there for years. It takes a very long time for Pluto to move. It's a very slow moving planet. Uranus, it takes years. Neptune, it takes years. So these are the things that you have in your chart right now that are going to be here for many years. So when we're looking at a transiting chart, natal transit chart for projection for like the year ahead, we can say for sure that you're going to have Saturn in your 12th house for the next year. We know that Uranus is going to be in your 3rd house for the next couple years, and Pluto is going to be there for many, many years.
So time-wise, when do you think that these realizations happen? Do you think they happen this year, or you do think they happen a year and a half later?
In a transiting chart in the house, when you look at them, there's significant periods of time when they're very closely transiting. So let's say if we look back in your chart, and we can see, if you can see my pointer, Pluto, when it hit your first house, your life changed. We could probably go back and find out like when that was, and there was something significant about you that changed, like your outlook on life, who you are, the way you project yourself. You might have been a totally different person. Most people never go through this, and like unless they have, Capricorn Rising. These people.
My husband's going through it right now, Capricorn Rising and Pluto right on his ascendant.
Capricorn Rising people are going through this Pluto in their first house, and it's like it changes their entire who they are, because it's there for years and years and years. And when it actually hits the degree of your ascendant, it's usually something big. Like it's a way we can actually look back, for example, and if we don't have somebody's birth time, we can do what's called a chart rectification and take specific points in their life and look at their planets when they hit like the cusp of the first house or the fourth house or hitting a moon or something. And we can actually rectify their birth time by looking at these very specific points in their chart. And they're very significant. They usually, they make big changes in your life. So especially a slow moving planet like Pluto or Uranus or Neptune, more Uranus and Pluto and Saturn. Saturn actually helps with rectification quite a bit. So Pluto's been in your first house for some time now. I would have to go back and look, but it's going to be there for ages.
Okay.
So that's a
good thing. That's a good thing though, right?
I think
it's a transformational period.
Yes. It is. It can be a very good, it doesn't even matter if it's a good or bad thing. It is what it is, because Pluto, you have no choice. Like Pluto transits, you have zero control over. They're going to change your life, whether you want that or not. You have no control over them. Like a Saturn, Vickie talked to you about a Saturn return, right? When people are around 30 years old, they go through what's called a Saturn return. So Saturn has made its way all the way around your chart. It takes about 30 years for Saturn to go around your whole chart. So Saturn returns make people grow up, right? I think that Saturn returns are almost necessary for any sort of like perspective on their life, right? You go through your life and you're like, you think, I remember being 18 and like having all these dreams and aspirations. And then, life is just so, it gives you like a sense of, there's some people who don't need a Saturn return to have wisdom, but a lot of times it's really required to go through that work to kind of understand a little bit more about life. And some people will never grow up. But
Pisces, not kidding, not Pisces, no.
Hey,
Pisces. Are you a Pisces?
Yes, I'm a double Pisces.
No.
yes.
I would have taken you for a Pisces. I would have taken you, I don't know why I would have taken you for a Virgo. But you know what though? Not all Pisces.
Virgo is opposed Pisces.
It's opposed Pisces, yeah.
So is it like, what is that, like contradicting what I said, or?
No, it's a good guess.
Oh, it's a good guess. Okay.
Yeah.
I like Pisces. I get along with them, but do you know what Pisces I'm talking about? I feel like there's different breeds of every like sign.
I'm like a shark
That are very like child, like pouty. Like they have mood swings and they like pout about things, and it's their way. And if they can't get their way, they'll throw a fit. Like, you know what I mean? You don't know what I'm talking about?
Yeah. No.
Yeah.
They're they're a water sign. They're moody. They're emotional.
Right.
But they're changeable, so they're adaptive as far as a water sign.
But I get along with a lot of Pisces too, though, because actually one of my
Pisces get along pretty well.
One of my favorite foster moms was actually a Pisces, and we got along really, really well. So not all of them, but just
there's two different kinds of Pisces. There's Pisces that swim upstream, and there's Pisces that swim downstream.
Okay.
So you have to be careful what kind of Pisces you're dealing with.
Okay.
Because you could have like the best Pisces in the world that would give you the shirt off their back, or you could have the Pisces that's doing the Coke tray in the corner and is not good for you in any way, shape, or form.
I had a Pisces that hit me in the head with a shovel. Literally.
Well, Pisces are one of the major
axe murderers.
They are. They're like Sagittarius, Pisces, and Geminis.
Gemini
like
are axe murderers.
serial killers.
Yep.
Yep.
Yep. Scorpio gets the blame, but it's not Scorpio.
No, Scorpio is very low on the list for serial killers.
Oh wow, that's crazy. Maybe I'm a serial killer. Just kidding. Let me not do that for somebody who's like, Colin, you're a serial killer? What?
We can check your chart.
You can check my chart and see if I'm a serial killer.
Check my chart and see if I'm a serial killer.
Oh my God.
But I'm a Cancer, and Cancers are the top for the homicides. I'll kill you, but I won't. I just won't.
I won't kill anybody else.
I won't make a habit of it because it's in the moment. It's passionate.
Wait, because Cancers can be like emotional to that level, so they could like get really crazy, like upset and be like, and kill you on accident.
Yeah, that's right.
In France, they'll actually let you go for that. Crimes of passion is dismissible in a court of law in France.
Oh my God. Let me go to France. Just kidding.
I was just trying to look to see exactly when Uranus is going to hit his moon. I'm trying to figure out, so real quick, I'm looking through my...
Well, then for the most part, this looks like a good thing then. Like, I have a lot of realizing to do. But, like, it's positive for the most part.
And I don't want your viewers to watch this and think like we're just telling you what you want to hear.
Right.
To bolster your ego. There is challenges. There's, trust issues. You work through a really hard childhood, and because of that, you're paying the price with dealing with other people en masse and close to you. Though I still say that there are people that want to help you get ahead. You're going to have to be selective on who those people are, and you're going to have to trust your intuition. So, I mean, if you get like the boogeyman vibe from somebody, like trust it, because they're creepy. And I'm going to give you the Allie 10-minute rule, the Allie Hardesty 12-week rule, which is like, give yourself 3 months to get to know someone before you start spewing stuff about yourself that's personal, that you haven't already put on the internet. Because, and see how they treat you. Don't pick up the check for dinner. Don't see if they buy you the coffee. See if they're mutually responsive. Remember, we talked about you dominating the conversation.
Okay.
And not letting other people have a chance to talk and then being like, I gotta go.
Yeah, I need to get better at that.
See if they do that to you. Make sure conversation is mutual.
Okay.
Between both parties before you start giving pieces of yourself to other people, and find out what their real agenda is, because they could want you for your fame. They could want you for your potentials. They could want you for your contacts.
Or for my kindness, and then try to use me and then take advantage of me like a lot of people do. Right.
Yeah, anything. It's fair game.
Right.
So
just be careful.
Yeah, just, be careful, get their birthdays, be like, I know these two girls from the Sleepless
They gonna read you.
Astrologer.
Every time I meet a new friend, I'm gonna bring them to you and be like, should I become friends with them, guys?
Well, no joke.
They have to subscribe to our page if they want their chart done.
Okay.
Now, completely not joking, before you sign any contracts or anything like that, make sure you do discuss with us if you're open
or a lawyer.
Us and then the lawyer. Because I think that your challenge is going to be with trusting in partnerships and contracts. So be careful, and always, I really do think you should consult one of us before you sign contracts. I think that's going to be...
I would actually say to consult Kristin.
Okay.
Either one of us.
You guys want to help me? You guys want to help me? You want to guide me throughout my career? Then I can give y'all like 10% of my earnings.
You don't have to give us anything.
Don't give it away.
We're here to help you.
Don't give away.
Yeah, I will literally, if y'all want to help me like get through this situation easier, because clearly I got a lot going on, honestly, it'd be appreciated. And
I told you I'd be happy to teach you astrology, and I know Kristin, I'm sure, would be happy. We're going to do classes, aren't we?
Oh yeah, that's next on our thing. We're going to do a series of... I really am serious about the contracts, though. I think you really need to be...
Guys, like I said, if you guys really genuinely help me with those types of things, it would be great, because clearly if you guys have an understanding of these things, wouldn't you be able to help me like get to where I need to go? Like, I mean, I'll give you, girl, if I get famous, I'll give you some money.
Well, I don't say no to money, but that's not our motivation.
Yeah.
No, I know. But I'm just saying, if you want to help me...
Yeah, we're saying we'll help you. We'll definitely help you.
Then I'll make sure then obviously I'll help you guys back. You know what I mean? Like,
I think you deserve that. I really do. I think you've gone through a lot. I think that you're going to have a lot of opportunity coming up, and I think that there's going to be people who are going to take advantage of you. A mama bear and me would want to say, you know, to help you and help you make good decisions for yourself, you know, and don't give too much away. You don't need to.
Yeah, remember, don't pick up the check at the dinner table. The Allie rule, the Allie 12-week rule. Don't invite him over.
Well, it's just not in his nature to do that, Vickie.
I know.
He's not going to be okay with that.
If they say something that doesn't sit right, you know, excuse yourself to the bathroom and just go out the front door. I know you're like, I'm too nice to do that.
I would probably just like finish the dinner and then I would just never call them again. That's how I am. My thing is like, I won't like be like, leave like right away. Like I'll like do it or whatever. Like if I were on a date with somebody and they're like, oh yeah, and they thought like we had the best date ever, and I'm like, oh no, you're an asshole. Like I'm just not gonna text them again, you know? And that might seem so rude, but it's like no, because it's just like I'm not going back to you, you know? But it's like I will be polite enough to finish the dinner with you though. That's about all
you're a gentleman.
Yes, I'll be a gentleman, but yeah, I definitely think that's what you guys said about that was accurate too. I definitely need to, like you said, like giving people stuff too much. I need to be careful. I think I'm a little bit too giving. And I guess this year, I know it's like cheesy, new year, new me, like, you know what I mean? Because everyone says that and like nobody follows it. But I actually really want to work on myself. Like I genuinely do. Like I'm very self-aware and I do want to better my life. Because even like if a lot of opportunities are coming for me, okay, that's cool. But you know, it's still important that I have good friendships and strong security in my relationships and, you know, partnerships with people, because you can have fame or fortune or money or anything like that. But if you don't have the friends and the family and the support system with that, then you're going to get eaten alive.
Yeah, that's true.
It will dehumanize you.
You just need to make good choices or you'll be Lindsay Lohan. So, you know, you've got to, you know, weed out and it's hard to do. That it's hard to do because people are very adamant when they want something.
I'll get better at it. I'll get better at saying no. Like, you know, I'll get better at it. You know, it's going to hurt because it's like I'm so nice. But that's the problem. Like, I am too optimistic sometimes. Like,
Jupiter.
Way too much. Because, you know, I'm like, oh my God, like, I think life should just be beautiful, like positivity. Like, I believe in law of attraction. So I'm a positive person. So I feel like if you give out positivity will come back. But okay, you might give out positivity all day, but then if somebody comes and takes advantage of positivity, then you're going to be negative, and then that's going to affect your life too. So sometimes you got to be like, it has to be like a polite like response, like, I'm sorry, but no. I'm sorry, pardon me, miss, but no.
Well, Kristin has a saying that she taught me in high school, which is self-preservation is never rude.
Right.
You know, and maybe you should write that on your bathroom mirror, like on a piece of paper, or like on a Post-it, and stick it there. And so you remember to, you know, protect yourself.
Okay.
You know, because, you know, your fans are watching this, your followers are watching this, and they're, you know, I would assume most of them are rooting for you.
Yeah.
To, you know, and would be sad to see you leave YouTube.
Right. I don't want to leave YouTube. I just want to do something bigger while I do YouTube, I guess. You know?
I think YouTube's going to help you get to that bigger place.
Like a stepping stone, kind of?
I think you're going to always have your fans, but I think that you are destined for bigger things. And not just, I mean, your personality and stuff that's there, but you have a lot of raw talent that isn't, you know, going to be expressed through YouTube videos. It's going to be additional, you're gonna have additional things to add to the world. Then, I mean, and there's nothing wrong with YouTube. I mean, it's an awesome platform, but like you're gonna have so many opportunities coming up, and you're such a hard worker. And I think that you're going to, that hard work, there's a saying, like, you have a lot of luck in your chart, but hard work creates luck, right? You're hardworking. Yeah, it's true. Like hard work is going to give you opportunities and present in lucky ways for you. And you have an ability, you have lots of creative abilities that are going to be, I think that's why we keep going back to protecting yourself, because we feel like that's what's going to happen, is that you have to watch people taking advantage of you and your talents, you know, and trusting the right people to help you make the decisions.
Okay.
I just think and I think you follow your gut, your intuition is very strong, and you have that really innate inside of you. So going through life, as you go through your early 20s, I would say it's going to be all about, you said just this year, but I think it's going to be for years. You're going to be finding yourself, and you're going to be learning more about yourself.
Especially that node conjunct node.
Right now, yeah. Especially.
It's a marker that the journey has begun.
You know, it is. It's like, oh, that's a really good point. Your journey started, your karmic journey started when you were born. Now you've learned some lessons, and you're ready to use those lessons. And what you're going to do is, since you have, I'm going to go back to sharing the screen so you can see what I'm talking about here.
Okay.
Okay, so here's your North Node, right, in the seventh house. And this has just come home. So going forward, the next 18 years or so, it's going to be another transit of this North Node of your karmic destiny. In the meantime, you're going to have Pluto in this first house. You're still, you know, I think Pluto in the 12th house was pretty tough to be born into, right? Pluto in your first house means you've learned all these things about who you are and your inner self, and now you're going to be able to express them in a more powerful way. You didn't have a lot of power before, but you're going to have a lot of power going forward. A lot of power. Your personal power, your professional power, and this Pluto is going to activate, you know, this T square. And
yeah, that's going to be crazy.
That's going to be crazy. I think that's when you're probably going to get famous.
Yeah.
By the way, there's no doubt in my mind you're going to be famous.
Really?
Yes. I mean, Vickie, do you have any?
I think when Pluto hits that aspect, that'll set it off.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Is there like time frames for this, so I can be like my calendar?
I mean, let's see. 16. It's going to be years and years from now. I only have the 1 year of ephemeris right here. It's going to be years, but we can find out. You just have to find out when Pluto is going to hit 4 degrees Aquarius, and we'll look into that and let you know. But so
we'll get back to you on that.
Okay. But it activates this T square. It activates this other T square. You've got 2 T squares that Pluto's going to be hitting, and it's not just going to be fame. It's going to be a significant relationship. It's going to be partnerships. It's going to be, but you're going to have so much personal power in these times that I think you're going to. You know what, Vickie? I don't know if maybe I can do that on my phone real quick. I'm going to find out when Pluto will be hitting his Neptune 4 degrees. Yeah, I think it's significant. Let me look that up. Well, you guys can talk while I'm looking it up.
I think in the meantime, you need to, not to keep like harping on the same subject, but if that's what's in store for you, you need to keep your tribe close and specific. And that includes professionals like lawyers and accountants and, managers and things of that. And if you don't understand something, ask a lot of questions and do a lot of research, and don't let people from your past like come up out of nowhere and be like, hey, because that could happen.
That probably will happen with Pluto.
There are a lot of people I want to take care of though. Like my sister, like I don't have a relationship with her as much as I'd love, and that's because of her dad. Like it didn't have anything to do with me or like my adopted brother that I haven't met. Like I do want to take care of them. But they would never come and ask for it either. That's something I personally want.
That's different then. And that's your family as well. I'm talking about like a foster mom that you stayed at for like 2 weeks, and
right.
All of a sudden it's just like, I took care of him. I was his mother, no, you weren't.
You think that's going to happen?
It's possible. Look at poor Meghan Markle. Like people she's never heard of is like, they're like, I'm going to write a book about you. you know, and she's just trying to get married to a prince, you know. That's all she's doing.
Yeah, that actually scares me. Not gonna lie. That's like one of the biggest things about growing that scares me. Like in success, like on YouTube, or even just like, you know, like in industry, is like how many people, because this is something clear that I just want to make obvious. Every single person here has made mistakes in their life or done things that they don't, you know, that they're not, wouldn't do now. And it's not like bad. Like I haven't killed anybody. Like I haven't done anything crazy to anybody. But I definitely like, you know, I was a little asshole when I was younger. Like, you know, like I got into arguments with people. Like I was very stubborn, like when I was younger too. And that's the thing that I hate is like when you get in the spotlight, then it's like people expect you to like be perfect. And then, you know, somebody comes out and says, well, he called me a bitch when we were in 5th grade. And then it's like, oh, now Colin's a terrible person because he called somebody a bitch in 5th grade, you know?
Right.
Like,
That's a really good point.
so that's something I'll deal with. But it's like I've dealt with it already as a YouTuber. So I just know it's on a way bigger level. Like, but I guess I just got to get better. Maybe I should use this as a, sometimes I start to think, is YouTube like a training camp or some shit? To be like, let me go through all this really bad, like toxic stuff. So then eventually I can be like,
well, you got yourself into situations that were very high profile.
right.
You know, and, you know, that weren't managed well, and with people that came across one way and turned out to be something else.
Yeah.
So, and you trusted too much and you gave too much of yourself.
Yeah.
And you got burned.
Mm-hmm.
And you retaliated.
Yes.
Openly.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and that's okay. But you can't do that when you're on stage, you know, getting an award. Or, you know what I mean? You can't pull a Kanye West or anything like that. You can't be like, I'm going to let you finish. But
you were an asshole to me in the YouTube community.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if this is true and what Kristin and I have seen, this is the first time I think that I've ever seen anything like this. And I don't know if Kristin has ever seen a chart that looks like this with so much potential for so much fame and power and possibility.
I've done a lot of work with CEOs and a lot of famous artists. So yes, I have seen these charts. That's why I can say that I think that, yeah, you have great things ahead of you if you don't screw them up. You know, if you manage your partnerships well, I think that's going to be huge for you. But I think this is a very, very promising chart. And Vickie, I did pull up the date that Pluto hits that T-square.
Yeah.
Let me show you this real quick. So this is February of 2026.
Oh, wow.
Seems like a long time away, but it's, you know.
It actually isn't.
It isn't.
Not long away.
And Mars will be on Uranus as well.
That's why I wanted to show you the stuff that's going on in here.
Crap.
Venus
February,
on the
girl.
second house cusp.
Yep. North Node in the second, Saturn in the second, Jupiter in the 7th, partnerships. Awesome. Good stuff.
That's going to be a good year for you, my friend.
Moon is going to be conjunct Pluto on the exact day that Pluto hits that Neptune. The exact day.
Yeah.
That's huge. Yeah, I think that you will.
What date does Kahlen become famous? February 11th, 2026?
No, here's the thing. I think he's going to be famous before that. I was looking at, Pluto's going to be in and around 3 degrees of this Neptune for 2 years at least. So I think, but this is the day it actually hits that Neptune. And I think there's something really, really.
What was the date for it?
February 11th, 2026.
You better write that down. Put it in your wallet.
I'm February 11th. Girl, that's my new lucky number. Now I'm going to go to the casino. And when I be like doing the gambling, I'll be like, February 11th, 2026. Like, that's going to be like my little jackpot.
2/11/2026.
That's now with transits, the stuff is going to start happening before that, because there's like a 2 to 3 degree orb, especially with I'd say 2 degrees with a Pluto transit. You're going to start to feel the effects. Things are going to be lining up. They're already lining up for this, just so you know.
Okay.
But when we look at like a specific date, as it's hitting that day, there's going to be something big happening on that. I would say that this is it's going to be a big time in your life.
This year?
No, this is 2026.
2026.
Sorry that it's so slow moving, but like I said, things are already in place.
Just keep doing what you're doing.
2026 is the big year. So before then, I'm like, okay, so what am I doing before then, girl? Like, I want
just follow your path. Just keep doing what you're doing.
Yeah.
Do YouTube, write your book, do your music.
Okay.
Keep working on the music. I really see that music is going to be huge for you. I think writing music, and then this 5th and 11th stuff going on here in your chart with the music and the creativity. I think that's going to be huge. I really do. The ruler of your 10th house of career is in the 11th house. It's fame. You're gonna, I think it's going to be happening. Mars is right at the top of your chart. You have lots of energy for that. This year in particular, you're going to be working on, and then actually the next year and a half, I think you're going to be working, you're doing a lot of hard work on kind of healing the stuff that's happened in your past. You're going to be working towards getting away from sort of those bad habits, the things that are going to hurt you with Saturn in the 12th house. You have to kind of like deal with those things. And once that Saturn hits the first, you're going to find a lot of discipline towards your goals. It's going to give you, you're going to have opportunities and structure given to you that you didn't have before. And Saturn, I mean, I can probably look at it and tell you the days. When is Saturn? Let me check Saturn real quick. So 14 degrees. It goes retrograde. It's not going to be till, in December of 2018, Saturn's going to be 11 degrees. So we're looking at 2019 before Saturn starts hitting your first. In 2019. So
that'll get you to grow up.
This year's a building. This year is a planning and building stage, and it's serious time for you to do serious work right now.
Yeah, work like a little bitch. Work.
So you think it's like building. You see this year being like let's just say career-wise, like taking care of my finances, I'm gonna be fine and stable doing what I love to do, but it's like I'm making a living off doing what I love. But then you think eventually that doing what I love for a living is gonna turn into like being way more than I need to live. That's what you're thinking.
Hold on, let me pull the current year back up so we can look at that.
Yeah, because I'm just curious. It's like, okay, so that's cool. What am I doing this year? Like,
you've got, but listen, this year you're doing great stuff. Jupiter's in your 10th.
Okay.
Mars is going to be hitting that Chiron. I just don't see this as the end. What you're doing right now is great. There's lots of good opportunities, but I don't think this is going to be what you do in 10 years. In 8 years. You're going to be doing something different. Keep building the foundation, working really hard, which I think you're good at. Work hard, and there's going to be a different opportunity coming up. It might not be fame when it hits in 2026. It might be something more significant, like a very significant relationship, or it might be something, that. But no, that being said, I think
to say,
it's career related for sure. Because look at the 2 squares. It's hitting, the 9th, and
might become like the next Oprah Winfrey. Just kidding.
I just think that whatever you set your mind to, you're going to do.
Okay.
So you want to be the next Oprah Winfrey. I think you could do it with enough hard work. I do think that you have that capability. You have the Grand Trine 2 T-squares. You have the intelligence with Gemini. You have the foundation. You have the energy and the drive. You've got you've overcome a lot of stuff in your past. It gave you a lot of insight into people and humanity. I think that I think you should work with the public in some way. I think that there's actually an opportunity for you to help other people heal.
Okay.
And I think that will be huge in your life. I think if you're able to connect with people and help them grow and help them get more out of their past, or teach them from your own experiences how to overcome certain challenges, that might be a big part for you too. Maybe that comes through your music. Maybe you help them heal with music. I'm not sure, but I do feel like that helping other people is going to be big for you. I mean, look at in his 10th house, Vickie. Scorpio rules it with Chiron right there at 29 degrees. I feel like he could really touch people and help them, because Chiron right here is
serve or you suffer, and I think that he would serve.
I think that he's going to help people heal. I do.
Yeah.
And I think that that's going to be really meaningful to you, to actually have people come to you and say, you know, that this has really helped me overcome my past or help me get through a really bad situation. I think that's going to be important for you. And I think that moon in Jupiter is also kind of a healing, you know, emotional, you know, generous moon. And your moon is deep in that deep psychology box. You know, if I didn't see this, you know, if you didn't have this 5th and 11th house connection, I would actually say that I think you'd be a really good therapist. I do think that you could help people.
That's actually interesting you say that, because that's literally what if I wasn't doing music, like my main things that I want to do are like with people publicly, like I kind of want to be, I don't know, like I kind of want to be like a motivational singer, but not like I kind of want to be a motivational speaker, but not like strictly that. Like I want to like do music and tell my story through my music and speak up like in interviews about my life and in my books and tell my truth in art, you know, because I think that's like the biggest thing for me, and my biggest escapism has always been through like art. So that's kind of what I want to, you know, I want to have a full circle in that way. Like I want that to be the way that I do it. But it's interesting you say therapist, because that's definitely, if this wasn't what I went down, I definitely see myself being a psychologist for sure. Like definitely the second thing. Like it would probably be the only career that I would be really good at. Like that's not art, because I couldn't be a teacher. Oh my God. Like I like to teach people, but just being able to directly help people based on my experiences in life. Like I feel like I give good advice. I'm not trying to be cocky. I feel like that's like very like arrogant. Like I give good advice, like, but no, I actually feel like I can give people good advice because of all the stuff I've been through. So it's easy for me to be like, you know what? Like I see where your life is. This is hard right here, but this is like what I did to cope with that situation or stuff like that, you know?
I think that having that musical platform or some sort of, I mean, I guess I don't want to discount YouTube because that is a huge platform for you. Having that platform is going to allow you to touch so many people. You know, I think it's going to give you that ability to connect and help people and actually be a role model for people and just show them, you know, hard work and resiliency and all the things that you can overcome in life. I think that's a really good use of that energy. But I personally think you're going to do it through a creative art fashion, and whatever that may be. I think that's going to be.
Which I think will be many different forms.
Well, yeah, it's definitely, I mean, definitely.
Yeah.
I see music. I really do. I do see that the musical connection. I think there's going to be that writing music somehow. The 5th, 11th, it just keeps on bringing me back.
Okay. Do you have any questions to kind of wrap this up? Because I know you said that you wanted to do your friend as well.
Oh, yes. Honestly, not many questions. It's actually really dope. Thank you a lot.
Let me turn off the chart there.
Such reassurance in that sense. Like, because it's interesting because this is like why I believe so much in these kind of things. Just because of like, okay, how are you going to get something like that, like sent to you, like that reassurance so solidified in the things that you've already like had doubts or questions about? Because it wasn't like I was asking you guys questions to like, oh, my friend's laughing in the room, oh my God. But it wasn't like I was asking you guys questions that were going to lead you to come up with these. Like you were reading it first and then I was just like, what? Like I've been thinking a lot about that. Like I've been thinking a lot about my career and YouTube, and I feel like it's become so negative. You know what I mean? Like everyone's focusing on drama and tearing people down
Well, that's just the crowd that you're hanging with. I think if you were talking with different people, you wouldn't have that experience.
No, I mean like within the YouTube community as a whole, not like in friendships.
And you're talking about like after Logan Paul and all that shit.
And like
that.
all the controversies that happen, it's like, I was like, this is not what I signed up for YouTube. Like I did sign up for YouTube to inspire people, and I do want to be different. Like I want to take YouTube and be like one of the people that, even if I don't grow as fast or I don't have as many subscribers or my impact's not as much, I want to do it for good and positive and make content I like. And I don't want to be involved in drama and controversy. Like I don't want that attached to my name. Like I want my brand to be positive, and I want what I do to be positive, and I want to uplift people. So in the back of my mind, I was like, I don't see myself doing YouTube for 5 more years. I just don't. Like I really don't. Like I really see myself writing or doing music or doing something, because I don't, like, I think YouTube's going to be a way that I reach people, and I'm going to do it in a good and meaningful and powerful way. But I don't think that I'm going to be doing it as long as I anticipated. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And when I told myself that, I was like, it's scary thinking about what am I going to do? But it's like, I guess.
Well, don't do anything until you're published.
Right. I guess it's just knowing like that I'll be okay, like in some way. That was reassuring, to just know that like I shouldn't doubt myself and just really go for it and just put the work in.
Yeah, just walk your walk. Just
Right.
walk your journey, you know. I mean, you're on the right path. And there may be some bumps along the way, of course, because life is life.
Yeah.
And that's how it goes. But I mean, you're obviously going in the right direction.
Okay.
So just don't. I wouldn't throw YouTube in the garbage, but
No.
You know, I would watch more like motivating people. Like Lavendare has a really nice channel, or Rowena Sai, or Rachel Leah, or you know, people like that. You know, that are, or Michelle B. Like I love her.
Or maybe just not pay attention as much also to YouTube. Like maybe I should just like post on YouTube, but then like get off it. Like just be like, hey guys, I'm posting a video that I want to post it, and then be like, bye-bye, like leaving, like not looking at the timeline, not looking at my recommended, not like keeping up with it, you know? Because it's like this really, it's weird. Because it's like once you do YouTube, it's like this world that like, it's like a second world. Because I'm like still the same person obviously in it, but I think everybody puts on a character or a show. And I feel like on YouTube, I'm just straight up me. But then it's like, oh my gosh, everybody on YouTube is like, they're not themselves. And it's like a whole fake fairy tale La La Land world.
That's not true. I'm myself.
Well, no, I
mean,
didn't.
Kristen's herself, like, you know.
You know, did you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm not like adding you guys to that. I'm just saying like a lot of people, like obviously not everybody, like there's so many genuine people that I'm, you know, friends with too, but.
You know, like Allie is who she is, and that woman
I love Allie. Allie's like one of the very few bigger creators that is just so genuine.
She's so she is who she is.
So pure. Know? And people don't deserve Allie. That's just the simple fact of that. Allie is just so pure
and that woman that does the conspiracy theories, I mean, she's unbelievable. I can't think of Michelle somebody or
yeah,
I want to meet her. I really want to meet her.
Yes,
I want to do her chart. I think we should have her on the show, and
I would talk to her about it. I think she would love to do that too.
How much focus, like I said, I only watched a little bit of your channel. How much focus do you do on like motivation and
motivation?
How much do you talk about like deeper topics?
You know what? I actually don't talk about it as much as I should. And that's been a goal of mine over this year and continuing, because on Twitter and Snapchat, I feel like I talk about more of that. But then on YouTube, I posted a really emotional video a while back where I just really just sat here and talked about like my friendships and where I was and where I felt like, wow, every time I try to like, it's literally so crazy. Like exactly what we're talking about now. Like every time I open up to somebody again, they hurt me again. I literally made a video about that, a long video, which I'll actually send you the unlisted link so you guys can check that out because it's like so raw. But I hadn't done that a lot on my channel. Like even though I'm positive, it's in a different way. Like I'll tell a story, I'll laugh. It's like positive comedy, but it wasn't ever me sitting down really just talking about life. And I think I should do that more. I think
that would help you. I think that would help give you the sense of purpose for the platform that you have right now. I think it would help you to get and connect with people and have them, you know, because when you tell your story, people don't necessarily hear your story. They're hearing their own story and they're relating it to you, right?
Yeah.
Like, so they're relating to you based on your stuff, and it's like healing. It's very healing. And I think that if you offer that sort of honest exchange to people, I think that's only going to help you get further to where you need to be. I think that maybe you don't feel fulfilled because you're putting on a show, but like you said, you're honest and you're out there, but are you connecting to people in the way you need and the way they need from you? I think you have a lot of potential to connect with people more than you're letting them right now.
I agree a lot. I agree a lot with that statement. I think
that could be where you find some fulfillment.
I think so too. I think I started YouTube to inspire people and to uplift people, and then when I started getting around the wrong people and people started caring so much about views and caring about trends, and I felt like almost like I had to maintain my career, like I keep doing videos that were getting views, which I like doing, by the way. It wasn't like I ever do videos I don't enjoy, but sometimes I just wish I could just start over, like have like no subscribers and just post whatever I want. And that's like what's so suckish for me. Sometimes I feel that pressure, like where I'm just like, I love having a platform because I love inspiring and uplifting people, but sometimes I wish I didn't have the pressure, because when you feel like this is like your life, everything you've been through, and you finally get something this good, you know, you don't want to lose that. You don't want to keep it. There's always somebody waiting to take your place when it comes to a career like the career I have. And that's where I just have to remember my subscribers, they're here for me. And even if my video talking emotionally doesn't get the most views, the people that do see that, even if it's 5 people, those people are going to be impacted in that way. And that's what the kind of content I want to make. And I'm working on that. I really am. Like, I've really been talking to myself about that and really working on that, because it's something I want to change, especially this year. I want to be more open, and I want to just not give a fuck about any of the content I'm posting. I want to post whatever I feel like. Like, hey, I want to post a video about talking like raw about life and reflectance, and just do it. And then it's
do it.
I think
I just do it anyway.
I think
just do it.
I think people need that. And right now it's so weird. We're just not connected to people because of the screens and because of, like, you know, social media makes everybody accessible, yet nobody's connected. Right. And I feel like people are so hungry for that. And I think that you have an opportunity to be really real and connect and really heal. I think that that's one of your gifts in your chart, is that you can be like a really influential healer in this life. You know?
You can be like a portal to like help for people that didn't even realize that they needed it until they saw your post.
That makes me so happy, guys. Thank you. That's actually why I started YouTube, actually. So
don't be dissing the path that you've come farthest. So I think you needed to learn those lessons to get to this point.
Absolutely.
Right. I think I deal with all the bull crap so I can finally be like, let me go back to my roots, you know?
Yeah.
Like,
I think you can do both. I really do. I think you can do the, you know, entertainment, and then, but you can also infuse
serious feelings in between, right?
Yeah. I think that would be, you know, and trust your instincts on that, you know, and I think that you'll, I just think you're going to connect with people on a deeper level. And I think that's going to be more fulfilling for you. I really do.
Yeah, I agree. I definitely agree. So if you're satisfied with that and at peace, you want to drag your friend in here?
Yes.
For the torture?
Yes. No, this was amazing. Oh my God, I'm so happy. Thank you guys so much.
No, thank you.
You're welcome.
I really, really appreciate this.